Now I will tell you about two ancient philosophies fighting over your soul right now, and you don't even know it. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. Now ask yourself, can I control this situation? If you answered, yes, you're a Stoic. Marcus Aurelius is smiling. If you answered wrong question, you're a Taoist. Lao Tzu just nodded. Here's the problem. You can't be both. One says, control what you can, accept what you can't. The other says, stop trying to control anything, just flow. Same goal, peace, happiness, freedom. Opposite paths. And right now in 2025, Stoicism is having a moment. Every podcast, every self-help book, every LinkedIn influencer. Control your mind, master your emotions, own your response. It sounds powerful, disciplined, strong. But 2,600 years ago, an old Chinese man watching water flow around rocks said, the Stoics are doing it wrong. Not because Stoicism is bad, but because control is an illusion, and chasing illusions makes you suffer. This is the battle. Stoicism versus Taoism, control versus flow, and it's happening in your head right now. Every time you face a problem, you unconsciously choose, do I control this, or do I let it go? Let me show you why this choice defines everything, and why most people are choosing the path that guarantees their suffering. The Stoic promise. You can control your response. Let's start with Stoicism, because it's everywhere right now. The core teaching, you can't control external events. You can control your response. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Epictetus. Some things are in our control, others are not. Focus only on what you can control. Beautiful, empowering, logical. Traffic jam? Can't control traffic. Can control your reaction. Don't get angry. Lost your job? Can't control the economy. Can control your attitude. Stay disciplined. Relationship ends. Can't control the other person. Can control how you process it. Practice acceptance. Stoicism teaches, master yourself. The world is chaos, but your mind is your fortress, and millions of people today are finding this incredibly helpful, because it feels like taking your power back. The Taoist objection. You're still trying to control. Now enter Lao Tzu. He's watching the Stoics, and he's shaking his head. You're still trying to control. You just moved the control from the world to your mind, but you're still grasping. Here's what Lao Tzu saw that the Stoics missed. When you try to control your response, you're still forcing. Marcus Aurelius says, don't get angry in traffic. So you sit there, telling yourself, I will not be angry. I will not be angry. I am in control of my emotions. But you're fighting your anger, suppressing it, controlling it. Lao Tzu says, the more you fight your emotions, the stronger they become. Water doesn't fight the rock, it flows around it. Stoicism says control your mind. Taoism says stop trying to control your mind. Let it settle naturally, like muddy water becoming clear when you stop stirring it. See the difference? One is active discipline, the other is active non-doing. One is mastery, the other is surrender. The core. Conflict. Discipline versus flow. Here's where they clash directly. On emotions, Stoics. Train your mind. When anger arises, recognize it's irrational. Choose not to engage with it. Master your emotional responses. Taoists. When anger arises, don't fight it, don't indulge it, just watch it like clouds passing. It will dissolve on its own if you stop grabbing it. Stoics. Control your emotions. Taoists equals don't control, don't suppress, just observe and release. On goals. Stoics. Set virtuous goals, work toward them with discipline. Accept obstacles as opportunities to practice virtue. Stoics. Amor fati, love your fate. Whatever happens is meant to teach you. Taoists. Goals create desire. Desire creates suffering. Stop chasing outcomes. Flow with what emerges naturally. Lao Tzu. Tao Te Ching. In pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In pursuit of the Tao, every day something is dropped. Stoics equals add discipline, virtue, goals. Taoists equals subtract desire, effort, control, on suffering. Stoics. Suffering comes from judging events as bad. Change your judgment. Practice negative visualization. Prepare for worst-case scenarios. Then you won't suffer when they happen. Taoists. Suffering comes from resisting what is. Stop resisting. Stop judging. Stop preparing. Just be with what's happening right now. Stoics. Control your perception of suffering. Taoists equals stop fighting reality, and suffering dissolves. Why this matters for your burnout, let's get practical. Because this isn't academic philosophy. This is your life. You're burned out. Anxious, exhausted. The Stoic solution. You're burned out because you're not disciplined enough. Wake up earlier, cold showers, journal, meditate, control your morning routine. Master your schedule. Focus only on what you can control. Result, you add more tasks, more discipline, more control mechanisms, and sometimes it works. You feel powerful, productive, but often you just get more exhausted because you're still forcing. Now you're forcing discipline on top of burnout. The Taoist solution. You're burned out because you're forcing too much. Stop adding, start subtracting. What can you let go of? Where are you swimming upstream? Result, you remove tasks, remove obligations, remove the pressure to control everything. And often, you feel guilty because society screams, discipline, productivity, control. And Taoism whispers, stop, rest, flow. The real difference, where they agree and diverge. Here's what's fascinating. Both philosophies want the same outcome: inner peace, freedom from suffering, resilience. Both reject materialism, ego, and external validation. But the method, opposite. Stoicism, build a fortress in your mind, train yourself, discipline your responses, prepare for hardship, control what you can. Metaphor, become a strong oak tree that withstands storms through deep roots and thick bark. Taoism, remove the fortress, stop training, stop preparing, trust the flow, let go of control. Metaphor, become bamboo that bends in the wind and never breaks because it doesn't resist. Oak versus bamboo, control versus flow, discipline versus surrender. Which one is right? The modern trap, why Stoicism is everywhere and why that's a problem. Stoicism is having a massive resurgence. Why? Because it fits modern culture perfectly. Modern capitalism says, optimize, produce, achieve, control outcomes. Stoicism says you can't control outcomes, but you can control your effort and mindset. It's the perfect compromise. You get to keep hustling, keep striving, keep grinding, but now with a philosophical framework that makes you feel wise instead of exhausted. I'm not stressed. I'm practicing Stoicism. I'm in control of my response. But here's the problem. You're still in the rat race. You just have a better story about why you're running. Taoism, meanwhile, is threatening. Because Taoism says, get out of the race. Stop running. The race itself is the problem. And that's harder to sell in a productivity-obsessed world. When Stoicism works, and when it fails. Stoicism is powerful when you're in a genuinely uncontrollable situation. Prison, war, illness. You need short-term resilience, crisis management. You're building discipline from zero, recovering from addiction chaos. Marcus Aurelius used Stoicism to survive being Roman emperor during plague and war. That's appropriate. But Stoicism fails when you're already burned out. Adding discipline exhausts you more. The uncontrollable situation is actually controllable. You just need to quit, to leave, change. You're using it to justify staying in toxic situations. I can control my response to this abusive boss. Stoicism can become a cope. A way to endure suffering you should actually escape. When Taoism works and when it fails. Taoism is powerful when you're over-efforting, burnout, anxiety, trying too hard. You're resisting natural change, aging, loss, transitions. You need creativity. Flow states require letting go of control. Lao Tzu used Taoism to opt out of empire building and find peace. That's appropriate. But Taoism fails when you're genuinely lazy and using flow as an excuse. You're in a situation requiring active discipline, addiction recovery, building skills. You need structure to function. Some people thrive on routine. Taoism can become passivity, a way to avoid responsibility. The synthesis. What if both are right? Here's my controversial take. You need both at different times. Stoicism for crisis, Taoism for life. When shit hits the fan, job loss, illness, tragedy, Stoicism's discipline saves you. When life is flowing but you're forcing it. Burnout, anxiety, control obsession. Taoism's surrender heals you. Practical application, morning routine, Stoic discipline. Wake up, exercise, eat well, control the controllables. Creative work, Taoist flow. Don't force ideas, let them emerge. Wu Wei. Relationships, Taoist acceptance. Don't try to control people, let them be. Career crisis, Stoic resilience. Can't control the layoff, can control your response. Here's how to know which philosophy you need right now. Ask yourself, am I forcing something that doesn't need to be forced? If yes, you need Taoism. Let go, flow, stop controlling. Am I avoiding something that needs discipline? If yes, you need Stoicism. Build discipline, control your response. Most people need Taoism more than they think, because we live in a hyper-Stoic world that glorifies control, discipline, and grinding. We've forgotten how to let go. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote his meditations while leading armies and managing plagues. He needed control to survive. Lao Tzu, the Taoist sage, left the empire on a water buffalo and disappeared into the mountains. He needed surrender to be free. Different lives, different needs, both wise. So which are you? The emperor holding the empire together through discipline, or the sage leaving the empire because control is an illusion? Maybe you're both. Control what truly matters. Let go of everything else. That's the synthesis. That's wisdom.